In this video, we are going to cover the 4 things we wish we knew we should have paid attention to when it comes to growing wealth. My name is Carmen.
And I'm Darius. And what we're going to talk about is basically the steps in which you can create wealth. Now, the very first step, like we said in the title, without having any money, what you have to do is you have to manage the money that you do have. Now, that's absolutely free. You don't need any money to do that, just the money that you have.
Oh, you breezed through that way too quickly. You have to what?
You have to manage the money that you do have in order for you to make money.
One more time. Did you guys hear us in the back? I don't know if you heard us.
You have to manage the money that you do have in order to make money. Now, we're talking about this from personal experience.
Yeah, we're not pointing fingers.
And the reason why this was so important, or just a transition for us, is because when we started intentionally managing our money, what we noticed is that we were at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to how much we spend on other things. Like, for example, our mortgage was at the top, our car note was second, and then there's a variety of other things that happen. Bills, utilities. Mm-hmm. And then our savings was the smallest thing on that list. And when we started prioritizing our savings over our mortgage, saying, okay, if we're out here doing the work, we're going to make ourselves the most expensive thing on our financial sheet, then things started to change for us. The reason being is if you have debt, you're not managing your money, you don't have any cash flow to put into savings. And savings is what's going to take you from where you are to where you want to be financially in the future.
There's so much I want to say about the statement that you just made. So, like, where do I start?
Or are you thinking about the process that we took to getting there, and then the journey it took from us to get there to where we are now? Yeah,
all of it. So I just want you all to go on this journey with us, and I want you to I want this to be illustrated. So to make sure that you understand this, because what Darius just shared, again, for us, it's kind of second nature, but
it is now. If it wasn't initially.
Yeah. But if you can understand, if you can conceptualize and comprehend what he just said, Darius was saying that if you looked at our bills and you list them numerically from most expensive to least expensive, we were always on the bottom. And some months we weren't even on the list, right?
We didn't even make the cut. We didn't even make our own cut, and we went out and worked for all that money.
but that's really what it is, right? When you think about it, we spend and we save what's left over, typically. Mm-hmm. And we didn't understand the concept of saving. We didn't understand the concept of paying ourselves first. That's why we're sharing this video with you, right? It's all about building wealth and how do you get started if you don't have any money. So what we had to understand, and we hope that you get this in this video, is we had to prioritize ourselves. How do you prioritize yourself, Darius and Carmen? Is because you have to look in the mirror and realize whether or not you value your time. And once we started to value our time more and more, we recognized that should come at a cost. Mm-hmm. Meaning, if we're going to spend so many hours working every week away from our friends, away from our family, and dedicated towards producing income for our household, we need to pay ourselves a wage. And that wage is us saving money, because once we save and we have cash flow available, that's going to allow us to do other things. But until you start doing that, you're always going to be behind and the lowest priority on the totem pole, and stuck in that rat race of not being able to go anywhere because you don't have any cash flow. Mm-hmm. And so once we recognized, like, we were sick of being at the bottom and sometimes not even on the list, we said, all right, we need to start building ourselves up on this list. So we got to the point where it didn't just go from zero to hero. We had to build to it. And now we're at the point where we're the most expensive bill on our sheet, when you think about our months, our bills for the month. And so it's really important for you to start getting that concept, because that's the sexy thing. Screw all the stuff that's on Instagram or people, making it rain and all that type of stuff. The sexy stuff is when you look at your bank account and you see how much you're paying yourself every single month, how much you are saving. That's where the financial freedom comes in. Mm. Financial freedom doesn't come from Instagram pics of you traveling around the world, because how did you get to that point where you could spend the money in the first place? Right. So like I said, I just want you to start conceptualizing it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but just know that we planted the seed and hopefully you can start building on it. And again, I'm speaking this into your lives and into existence, because it's easy for you to get discouraged if you don't feel like you have a ton of money to even move the needle forward. And sometimes people just get so discouraged that they're like, I'm not going to do anything. I don't have any money, so I'm not going to do anything. And that's never an option. That should never be an option for you. It's just, now you know better. So how are you going to do better? And making those little steps so that you can get to the starting line and then run the race.
Right. Now, what prioritizing ourselves did for us is it also kept us out of debt. Because when
that was another point that I wanted to bring up. Hold on, let me address this. I'm sorry, I had to get this out. The other point that you were talking about with thank you for reminding me, consumers and being in debt. Now, when you prioritize yourself, you recognize how much of a consumer you were being. One more time. When you prioritize yourself, you recognize how much of a consumer you're being. Why? Because how much are you buying? How much are you consuming? What are the things that are actually of value that's going to change your life? And once you recognize, like, I'm spending all this money on these things that aren't bringing me any value or any return, now you know how to reallocate the funds. Where do they need to go? They need to go back to you. So this whole journey that we're on is about understanding our habits as consumers and how can we change them so that we can be more productive and efficient with our money. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm done.
And what I was going to say is by us prioritizing ourselves, we spent less money on debt until we got completely out of debt. So that increased our cash flow. But instead of us getting into more debt or buying more items, what we did is we increased our savings as our cash flow increased. So it allowed us to pay ourselves even more money and have more money to invest.
Yeah.
So that's what it did for us. And again, that didn't cost us anything to do that. We used the same money that we had. We just managed it better.
And the one thing that we also had to understand was it's not always about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep.
Now we heard that, but it's different when you walking through that. When you walking
when you're in the mud.
When you're in the mud, yeah.
You're like, whatever. Carmen
There's a
said.
lot of sayings that make sense.
That are cute.
But when you apply it, it's different.
There's a lot of sayings that are cute. Yeah, I wish I could do that. That sounds good. But you don't see my bills right now, Carmen.
Right.
But again, it's just that we're planting seeds, right? Because one day it's going to make sense and it's going to go, oh, okay. You'll have an aha moment and figure out what are the things that you need to do.
Right.
But I say that analogy because, for Darius and I, we were very focused on our income. We wanted to have so much income by the time we were 30 years old. We hit that in our 20s. And so we felt really, really proud of ourselves for achieving, having six figures in household income, collectively, where we had the money, right? But it didn't make any sense for us to have all this money if we got to the end of the year and recognized we didn't have any savings.
Right.
And then that happens year after year after year. And next thing you know, I don't know why we just ended up like tallying the numbers to say, okay, how much income did we make? And then how much money do we have in savings? And we had nothing to show for it. And when you get to the point of having spent $500,000 or having that come through your fingertips,
and not having anything to show for it.
And you can't buy a coffee mug at the end of the day. I mean, not that drastic, but you see what I'm saying is just, we got to start waking up. We got to get woke and we got to start understanding what's happening, because there's no way you're going to be building wealth if you can't manage the money that you have.
Right. Now, just fast forward to now, what we're able to do is we're able to manage our household on less income that we had when we were working our jobs.
Efficiencies, right? We talk about efficiencies.
Yeah. Because the only thing we're doing is the more money we made, we started putting more towards our savings. Like if we get a bonus or if we get a raise or give ourselves a raise, it comes to us, but it goes to paying ourselves first, because we want to make sure that we maintain an even keel on our household expenses, because that's the last thing we want to go up. What we want to really go up is our savings.
It is true. And again, it's just about the realization of how much of consumers we were, excessive consumers we were, and then recognizing what is that doing for us at the end of the day.
Exactly. Now, the second point that we want to transition into, which we transitioned into because of the fact that we're paying ourselves first and we prioritize ourselves. Now we need to protect ourselves, and we protect ourselves through life insurance. First and foremost, our death benefit. Aside from what we use our policies for, it's very important to us that in the event something happens to me, my wife is taken care of, my kids are taken care of, and vice versa. So it's really important for us to not only take care of ourselves through protecting ourselves through life insurance, but it allows us to replace that income that would no longer be there physically if we were to not be here anymore.
And one thing I want to do is back up really quickly, because for those of you who are looking for guidance, who want help, we want to help and we want to serve you. So definitely click on the link below and join the Wealth Nation. We have a community of like-minded individuals who are either getting started, are in the trenches, or are maximizing their opportunities to build wealth. So we want to bring everyone together so that we can continue to learn from one another and be better wealth managers. So Darius, sorry, go back to your point.
Well, I thought I already made my point, because I was just talking about the importance of protecting ourselves now that we are intentionally saving.
You're right.
So that we can multiply our savings by in the event something happens to us.
And honestly, I think that this became a priority for us because we kept seeing time after time again where we were losing family members, we were losing friends, and just hearing the stories of the different families that were affected by death. And so it really just came to us just in the sense of like, it was really important for us to make sure that we were covered.
Yeah, it was important, but it wasn't a priority until we started spending time with people that made a lot more money than us.
Yeah, and their conversations were different. Yeah.
Because what we learned is that even though they had money to take care of their family, they wanted more money to make sure that their grandchildren's taken care of. Everyone that we talked to, they didn't, even if they're our age, they were more concerned about their grandchildren than their children, because they figured that they already taught them the life lessons that they learned. But the one thing they can give to their grandchildren if something happens to them is money, while their parent has the educational or the mental piece around how to manage money.
That's a good point. Yeah, just the conversations completely changed. Again, once you start to become more aware and craving more information, the information just starts coming to you. And once people just started saying like, well, again, my grandchildren are protected, or my great grands, I'm working on, 3 generations down. And we're like, well, why? Initially, right? If this concept is new to you, and then it just becomes more and more profound and important, recognizing like your responsibility. If you have children and if you're building a family, like what you have control over right now is to provide an amazing future for the ones who come after you. And if that's not a priority for you, then that's something that you should really start thinking about, because you literally have the ability to start changing the lives of the next generations today.
Right. And the thing is, when you get life insurance, it's a multiple of your net worth. So if your net worth is $1 million and you can leave your family 15, I mean, that's $16 million between what you have. That's more than what you could have provided for your family, even with your business, so to speak. Yeah,
and then for us, not only about coverage from a life insurance standpoint, we had to educate ourselves. So we had to understand what products made the most sense for us, what covered ourselves long term, and what were the other perks and benefits that were available to us. Because sometimes we just rush into what our family might have or what our friends might have, but not really understand how that will benefit me. And so we first started with term insurance, and then we recognized term insurance wasn't going to serve us. So then we moved to whole life, and then we started to understand all the perks and benefits that came with whole life. And that's one thing that we talk about a lot on this channel, is how to utilize your whole life insurance policies as coverage for your family, but then also a way to park money as a storage vehicle so that you can use those funds to then invest. So we're not going to cover a lot of those details on this video today. If you want more information, then definitely click on this link. But again, for us, we just want to make sure that you understand coverage should be the second thing that is on your list as far as priority, because we prioritize everything else but our family sometimes. And like Darius said, if you could just deposit a little money into an insurance premium and have that be a multiple of your net worth, and not just, I have life insurance, so it covers the mortgage. We're talking about a different type of wealth here. So those are things that we want to start having you think about today.
Right. And another thing that we got from discussing or connecting with people that had a lot more money than we did is the fact that we learned that they all had businesses. That's the third thing that you need in order to generate wealth, is you need to have a business that you own so that you can control your income and your cash flow.
Now, I hope it goes without saying, we mean a cash flow positive business.
Cash flow positive business.
and I say that because how many people do you know go, oh, I have rental houses and they're not making any money from the rental. So it's like, what do you have that for? So again, a positive cash flowing business. One that's providing you reoccurring income, consistent income.
Or you have a network marketing business and you're paying for all your family members to get involved. That's not cash flowing.
Oh, memories. So it's one of those things that you just have to think about. And the business, again, doesn't have to be something that you have to go study and figure out and learn how to do this thing. A business could be something that you just generate yourself from the passions that you're in. Maybe you love working with your hands. Maybe you love woodworking or whatever it is. How are you going to start a business building things so that you can, again, start creating other forms of income for your family?
Right. And, honestly, when it comes to business, I would say like our journey through business, it started off with what we thought would make us money versus an extension of ourselves. That's where we messed up on, is our business was an extension of ourselves, is what we researched, and we saw what other people were doing, and we thought we could do the exact same thing when that wasn't our style or our calling.
Wow, an extension of yourself. That's beautiful.
That's what it should be.
I never thought of it from that perspective, but yeah. Yeah, because you're not reaching for information. It's who you are.
It's who you are. And if you can be yourself in your business and get paid for it, then kudos to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I think, because the other thing too is we're involved in other businesses at this point too, is we started with something that was an extension of ourselves. And as we continue to learn and grow and learn more things, we recognize we have interest in other things. And so then at that point, it made sense for us to start studying, getting involved in and learning the broader world of business and how we can utilize our knowledge to let those efforts compound in our bank account by investing in different things.
Right. And another thing that you should have along with your business is a mentor.
Yes.
Because people that have been in the business or that are fortunate to be older than you, they've made a lot of mistakes, just like we've made a ton of mistakes, and we learn from those mistakes. But everybody that comes after us that we're able to connect with, they're able to learn from our mistakes and do better, faster, sooner because of it.
Yeah. So building a business is something that can be very intimidating, and we don't want it to be. So again, if you're just getting started, we've already listed 3 things that you need to start at before. So it's the personal finance, it's the coverage of your family, and then the next thing is building a business. So the fourth thing that we want
and building a business doesn't require any money either.
Ooh,
because if it's an extension of yourself, it's probably something that you're already doing anyway. I can't tell you how many things that we've given away that we realized, or someone else brought it to our attention. A mentor brought it to our attention, is you should be getting paid for that.
Yeah, we're
like it's free. I mean, help everybody out.
But then we didn't realize how much value it brought the next person.
Exactly.
They say one man's trash is another man's treasure. And we were just giving all of our trash away, trash in the sense that we weren't valuing the knowledge that we were literally sharing with people. And then they would turn around and have amazing success. And we're like, oh, great. Good for you. That's why we tell you the information anyway. But then our mentor was like, you need to be charging for this. What are you doing?
And he came at it from perspective of the fact that we're giving away our time. And that time is something that we can never get back.
Yeah.
We can always make money, but we can never get back our time.
Most valuable asset.
Right. So that even goes back to the first point, is we weren't valuing our time, so we weren't paying ourselves first. You see how this thing is all connected? You notice that? Are you noticing that?
Yeah.
It's all connected. Now, the last point that we want to make is we alluded to it a little bit earlier when we talked about we use the cash value from our policy to invest. That's the very last thing you need to do is you need to not only be in the business where you make money, but you need to be in the money business also where you can put your money to work. And that's in the form of investments.
Totally.
The very last step.
Yeah. And investments, it can be really whatever you're into, because so many people will nerd out on any asset class there is. Real estate tends to be the asset class that we prefer, but we also know that we do need to also have a diversified portfolio in the sense of we have money invested in different asset classes. So real estate, like I said, is something that's really important to us. The next kind of move that we're looking into is commodities, so that we can start again branching out and looking into other things that will provide us an aggressive return, so that our money again can continue to work for us and we don't have to work for money. Right.
And investing is the very last step, and it's the one that you do need money for. But if you do the other 3 steps first,
hold on a second. Let's preface that you do need money for. You don't necessarily need your money.
You do need money
until you understand the power of leverage and having an investor or creative mindset
or a life insurance, cash value life insurance policy.
It doesn't always have to be your money. You just need to come to the table with money and work out a deal that makes sense for all parties involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love the fact that you brought it up, because what it does is it brings everything full circle. Mm-hmm. Instead of seeing like steps of you need to manage your money, you need to have life insurance to protect your family, you need to have a business, you need to have investments, it then connects back to how you manage your money.
Yeah.
Because if you have these investments and you're a successful investor and become an expert in investing, you also need to be an expert in managing your money so that you have more money flowing through your system and your business so that you can make more money.
We didn't even know that we did this on this video. Like we said, we just came up with 4 things, but really it comes full circle. Once you start investing and you start creating cash flow, then like you just said, it goes back to managing your money. How much money am I doing? Do I need to reallocate my funds? Am I paying myself more? How much more do I want to invest? And you go back to coverage. If I'm making more money, I need more life insurance. I need more coverage. Right?
Yeah.
Then it goes back to, if I still have cash flow, I should be investing in another business. Mm-hmm. Then once that business comes around and you're making money from that, now I need more investments. And then it just recycles again. Let's keep managing our money. Let's get more coverage. Let's invest in other businesses and also other
But that's
assets.
Life. That's life, though. Everything that we do is a cycle. We're born and then we die. Mm. We wake up in the morning, then we go to sleep. Mm-hmm. We have our daily routines where we get up, go to work, mm-hmm. do a few things, and we come home, do a few things, and we do it all over again the next day. It's the same thing when it comes to how we manage our money. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is, we may have a few bad things that we do in there that kind of throws off our whole routine.
Bad habits, yeah.
Bad habits. But at the end of the day, it's a routine. And if we start making small adjustments to the things that we're doing that doesn't serve us, then what we can do is we can have a better routine that not only makes us a better person, makes us a healthier person, but also makes us more money as a result of it.
I love that. So let's go ahead and wrap that up. I think we had so many gems and nuggets in here. So what we want you to do is do everything that we said to do today on your own time, on your own scale. Don't get overwhelmed. Just know that we gave you the steps and start working through your checklist.
Right. One step at a time.
Mm-hmm. And then if you want to continue to be more aggressive with your investments, then definitely check out our next video so you can learn more about passive income.
And remember to own your own lifestyle.
Or someone else will.